Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Today is February the 28th, and today I ran 2 miles. That's just to keep up with my Garmin 5K training plan. Now, interestingly, on this past Saturday, I ran 5K already. That's 3.107 miles, and that is about 12.1 times around a quarter-mile loop or around a track. I believe I got that right. 3. Anyway, doesn't matter. I'm not really too sharp when it comes to numbers and names and dates. I've discussed this in the past, suggesting that in part it might be because as a young human, I was thrown into a tub head first, and it's not a joke. It really happened, and for some of us, we may not have been shocked into a reality as early as I was. And from that point in time, I pretty much learned to lay low, not draw any attention to myself, and just to do the requirements of what it meant to get by in this society. In this society, we don't really have a whole lot of guidelines or standards that many people adhere to. And by that, what I mean is, here in this nation where I live, for an example, the majority of what is practiced in terms of peace is thought of as going to church. And regardless of which religion the mass happens to be, the consensus of most people right now, especially on this date, which again, it's February the 28th, Tuesday the 28th. It's the first Tuesday of Lent. And for most of us, we don't really think a whole lot about the reason behind all of the seasons, so to speak. So, so to speak, sugar, all of these things are things that have kept me kind of bound to my current physique over the past several years. And so what I'm doing is I'm following a journey where I'm combining physical activity with efforts to reduce the consumption of those things that are harmful for me. And sometimes we have to go what some people would call cold turkey. And for this period of Lent, what better time frame to address the problems of overcoming some of these basic ritualistic addictions than by following those teachings of peace that our nation gives us the opportunity to look forward to. So today is my second day of removing a considerable amount of things from my overall meal plan. I wanted to approach this Lent differently from previous Lents. Lent, as many of you know, runs from Ash Wednesday until the Saturday before Easter Sunday. And in the calendar of how it all is mapped out, that comes out to about 48 days. So what I wanted to do was to start off on this Monday through the Saturday before Easter Sunday for my period of Lent, which is a 40-day period of time. And I want to adhere to something that I've showcased in the past and that I don't know how else to showcase except for with actual results that we can measure and quantify. And so again, yesterday was Monday. I weighed over 260 pounds, and I'd been stuck there for some time. And today I'm I think I lost 2.4 pounds and from yesterday. And that was just from one day of not consuming many of the things that I was consuming previously. So for this Lent, what I'm trying to do is to talk about this message without beating it into anyone that I'm talking about religion, because I'm not. I'm talking about peace and health and wealth and how we can have fun and how we can bring joy to one another. So in my life, what I try to do is enjoy the things that bring me joy, because generally that tends to bring other people joy. Now, I've played music for many people. Some people really actually want to hear it, and some people have even sung along with me. But in general, when I play music, I've had more people than not tell me to stop playing. And the same can be said about this channel. If you look at all the songs that are played throughout this channel, you'll see that some of the videos where I've played an actual fun song have the lowest amount of views, and also in some cases, some of the most interesting comments. So these are things that I've come to observe as a child of whatever our higher power is. And when I say these things, I don't say them with disregard. I don't say them so that you can critique what I'm calling our combined higher power, or so you can even debate whether or not we have a higher power. What I'm saying is, I have great confidence that the bringer of peace, the teacher of peace, taught us how to regain our health. And also, in those huge volumes of text, we see examples of how we can exchange energy with one another and how we can become bound to one another. And in many ways, that energy is bound because we are feeding each other the same way. We're feeding each other the same processed holidays. And we're feeding each other the same processed holidays without ever getting back to the underpinning message of simple joy. So these are things, again, that I talk about at a high level, not to bring anger to anybody, but to showcase the results of what it means when I say, until next time, peace, love, and all that old school stuff. What it means when I say, hey, I've reached out for help among my peers in this society where we have all these avenues that supposedly can help us with situations that we're not able to manage ourselves. And in some cases, I've found myself managing the situations that I was paying someone else to address for me. This is an epidemic. To have a whole nation of ill people who will find any excuse to not get on. For an example, they might have the convenience of a treadmill, to not get on the treadmill. Well, the treadmill's covered with clothes. Well, the treadmill, it's too high for me to step up onto. Well, the treadmill, this, that, and the other. Really, the excuse that we can all look at when we have trouble accomplishing something is ourselves. We put our own barriers into place to prevent us from seeing one another's value. Maybe when we see past each other's illusion, then we'll start to see we're each other's solution. That is a line from a song that I made called Spiritual Devil. Spiritual Devil is a song that basically was titled from a dream, not even my own dream. As I go through these days talking with my friends and family, I oftentimes try to tell the story in the form of a poem or a song, especially if it's relevant, because how else do we remember things that are relevant? In the past, we used to go with our families, just here in this country, for an example, every Sunday to a place where we would celebrate life. And lately, more and more often, the only time we celebrate life is when we have a life celebration for someone who has passed away. But rarely do we actually spend time with the people who are alive right around us and actually enjoy the energy that we're sharing back and forth with one another. These are the basic things that I want to talk about on this channel. what it took to recover my health and what it took to safeguard it from those who would be taking away from that health. It's a challenging situation, but I'll tell you one thing: the truth will set you free. It may not set other people free. It may actually cause other people great distress, because to look at ourselves truthfully is sometimes to evaluate the ego that oftentimes runs our life. So the period of Lent and fasting has to do with tempering ourselves. And so when we look around and see that some people will not go so far as to give up anything, we can see that we have a lot of grown toddlers who are throwing tantrums. And sometimes the period of Lent is an indicator of whether we are strengthening our bonds of peace or whether we are tightening our constraints of violence and fear and aggression. So those are just some thoughts. What do you think about that? Until next time, thank you so much for watching. Peace, love, and all that old school stuff.